service. She served 2 terms on the board. Second, we would like to thank Micah Phillips. He's also sat on the executive committee as our treasurer and done an amazing job. Thank you, Micah. We have Jacqueline Frazier, who has served for 3 years on the board. So thank you so much, Jacqueline, for your commitment. And Anthony Miller, who has served for 1 term, 2 years of service. And then we've got Devin, and I don't even have down how many years she served on the board because it's just astronomical. I don't know. Devin, if you're here, you could pipe in. But we really want to thank these folks for what they've done to help shape the West Hill Community Association. And we're really moving into a cool direction, and we really appreciate all you've done. We know you won't be strangers, so thank you. Back to you, Joey.
Thanks, Finn. And you're exactly right. You know, although people may not be on the board proper any longer, I mean, this is an amazing community that is continuing to grow, continuing to go in a direction that is inclusive and a direction that really embodies support in the best way possible. And so although these folks are not going to be there proper, we know you're not going to be far, and certainly not beyond a text or a phone call when we need the support of you. So thank you for that. The last thing I'd like to say before we get into the community reports is that, you know, there's a number of events and actions and activities that are happening in, yes, our local community. There's also a number of events and things that are happening outside of our community across the country. And I think today is a special day. And I think it's something that we're going to have future conversations about, not just any one particular part of our country, but certainly a big day across the board. And so definitely want to make note of that before we get into the rest of our agenda. Okay, all that to be said, we are now getting to the part of our community reports. We have just about 7 or 8 different groups that are going to be speaking with us tonight. I do ask the one favor of, you know, minding time, right? We have allotted about 3 to 5 minutes per organization. If we do everything right, we're going to get everybody tucked away in bed by 9 o'clock. So let's do our part in that. And again, after the community reports, we're going to go through a couple of main presentations from King County, and then we'll go into the board elections for the back 40 to 45 minutes or so of the time spent together tonight. So if we're all agreed and buy into this, which I believe we are, I'm going to get right into the community reports. First up, we do have Renton School District. So Randy Matheson, are you on the call? I don't see Randy, which is fine. We can always come back. Next up, we have Maggie Breen from Reach. Maggie, are you on the line? Make sure I can see everybody. Well, we might be buying back more time. Okay, so let's go on. Jeremy Williams. Jeremy, are you on the line? We'll talk about Skyway Coalition.
I am.
There you are.
So, hey everybody.
Right. 3 just turned into number 1. Off you go.
Excuse the WHCA host, but my name is Jeremy Williams. I work or volunteer with West Hill Community Association on the Advocacy Committee, and I also serve as representative to the Skyway Coalition, which WHCA is a part of. And so I just wanted to give a couple minutes of updates about Skyway Coalition, what's been going on with the coalition, namely since the last time that we all met and I was able to give an update. We have hired the Skyway Coalition manager, Rebecca Berry, who is a Skyway community member, and we're super excited for all the work that she's onboarded onto very quickly and is doing an outstanding job. So hopefully you get to meet Rebecca sometime, possibly at this upcoming Skyway Coalition community meeting that we're having this Thursday, April 22nd at 5 p.m. I will post a link into the chat and I will post it on social too. So you can register for that, and we would hope to see you there so we can provide even more in-depth updates about just the work that the coalition is doing and trying to accomplish with the help of you, the community. Other quick updates, no new update yet on the US Bank property that everybody's been advocating for. As everyone's aware, US Bank has left Skyway and closed the Skyway branch, but we're really hoping to get that property donated to the community so that we can make use of it as a community multi-resource center. So we will definitely keep everyone up to date on that as we hear any new news. There's been a lot of advocacy for local projects in the state budget, particularly the Senate budget, and want to thank everybody who wrote in to your state representatives and senator, and thank you so much. The budget so far does have earmarked a few $100,000 for a couple of Skyway projects, namely the PETA Village, as well as a multi-resource center for Skyway. And then other things that this coalition has going on, we're just continuing our strategy sessions with our consultants around expanding the coalition to formally bring in community members. And then also we are trying to help with getting the participatory budget work up and going. So I'm sure King County will have a little bit more to say about that, and figuring out the selection committee for that and how that budget committee the applicants get chosen. So I'll also post a link, but check out our page and subscribe on facebook.com/Skyway Coalition, and you can follow along for more updates. That's it. Thanks, everybody. Hope to see you Thursday.
That's great. Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, Skyway Water and Sewer with Cynthia, and I believe that's Cynthia. I saw you on the line. There you are. Yeah.
I am here, Joey. Thank you. I'm not
Absolutely.
used to being second in the community reports. I'm usually last, but I will keep it brief as well because we've got some good topics tonight. So for anyone that's here, I think I know most everybody, but I'm Cynthia Lamoth, and I'm the general manager of Skyway Water and Sewer District, which provides water and sewer service to most of the Skyway West Hill area. Like most other folks, we're holding our own together here in the COVID situation. Right now, our lobby is still closed to public customer traffic, but we're maintaining all services. We do certain transactions by appointment, socially distanced. You can call us, email us. There's been no reduction in the service that we're providing to customers. So we're regular hours in our office, 7:30 to 4, Monday through Friday. And we still have a 24-hour on-call operator. So we are available to the community, even though the front door is closed. The Board of Commissioners has, consistent with the governor's guidance and instructions, we are not disconnecting anybody from service for non-payment. No late fees are being applied to bills that are not paid, and no liens interest is being charged, and all of this will continue through July 31st. After a lot of discussion, because it has long-term impacts, the Board of Commissioners chose to not increase water or sewer rates this year. Typically, there's at least an inflation increase because just like for all of us, our own homes and things, the cost of things go up. But under the circumstances, the Board of Commissioners decided not to have a rate increase. You will still see a small rate increase for the sewer portion of your bill for sewage treatment. We'll continue to assess the situation, make adjustments as necessary, and respond accordingly. The other big thing I have to report is we've been advocating for direct assistance for our customers. Federal monies are coming to the state, $4.2 billion. And we've been advocating with our legislators to have $100 million of that go specifically for water and sewer assistance across the state, water, sewer, and gas, excuse me. And that would be split 50-50 between water and sewer service and gas service. And that's across the state, and that's still in progress. So knock on wood, we're ever helpful. And hopefully I'm under my 3 minutes. Always feel free to email us at info@skywayws.org or call the office. Thanks, Finn. Thanks, Joey.
Yeah, thank you, Cynthia. Appreciate that. Good news all around. Okay, so up next, King County Local Services. I think I saw Kevin LeClaire on the line, but John, David, or Bong?
Yeah, Kevin's here.
Oh, hey, Kevin.
Hey, thanks. Let me just, there we go. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having us here. Couple things that I will report on, and if John jumps on, he can take over, but a couple things I wanted to share with folks. As you know, we've been working on the Skyway West Hill sub-area plan and community needs list. We are still working through all of the requests that we received from the community. Been meeting with departments and going through those and kind of categorizing and putting things together so that we can come back and start working with the community on the prioritization of what we heard in the bigger buckets as we put everything together. So that work is going on. The sub-area plan is also still kind of being worked on, and I wanted to share, I'll put a link in the chat. I just posted a new survey to start working with the community around the community vision statement that will go in the sub-area plan. There is a, we're using, the starting point is really the vision statement that was in the Skyway West Hill action plan. Or the SWAP, as people know of it. So we've got that posted. We want people to react to it. And then also share their own thoughts. I'm getting some feedback.
Oh, sorry, can we get a mute check, Margie or all? Thank you.
Great, thanks. So I'll put a link in the chat to that. I also wanted to notify folks, and I see Valerie's on the call, but I wanted to mention we've got a upcoming workshop on May 22nd to talk with the community about the Empire parcels and Brooks Village and talk about those parcels and what the community would like to see happen with those. And then we also have another workshop that we're working on to dig in deeper around inclusionary housing and the rules for that. And that's scheduled for May 25th. And then finally, I'll just touch on the participatory budgeting. As folks know, the county has basically put money forward for the urban unincorporated areas, and I'll put a link in the chat to the participatory budgeting community investment committee webpage. They've hired a community investment coordinator. Some of you may know Gloria Briggs. She's a longtime community resident and worked with Skyway Solutions, and she is actually helping to coordinate the community investment process. And so with that, I'll leave it, and I'll put some links in the chat so folks can follow up. Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin. Was John or David or anybody else jump on the line that wanted to add to anything, or do you feel like you got it all covered?
I think I got it for now. If anybody has any questions, they can shoot me an email or follow up later.
Okay. Terrific. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Chief Hicks, I believe I saw you on the call here from King County Fire District. I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Joy. Hello, everyone. Eric Hicks, Fire Chief with the Skyway Fire Department. Just let you know that a lot of our time has been dealing with vaccines. Our crews have been out doing a lot of vaccines with mobile vaccine unit. That's been primarily operating in Renton. We have a partnership with the city of Renton and the Renton RFA based on public health policies. We were hitting the large adult family facilities first. We've been cleared to do some vaccines in Skyway, which will be happening real soon. One of the events I can tell you about is we're bringing 100 vaccines to Creston Point on the 27th. Scheduling is underway right now. We are going to do an event in partnership with Elijah Wan Brown Foundation, Anna Brown, on the anniversary of his death on the 29th. That is in partnership again with Elijah Wan Brown Foundation, Health Point, UW Harborview, and Public Health. I just got word this morning that we're bringing 300 vaccines to that event. Ayana Brown may want to speak on that later, but that's what we're up to. As far as the scheduling piece of that, it's yet to send out a link or an advertisement or a flyer yet. That's coming real soon. We are going to try to focus on, some of the apartments near the grocery outlet. That's where it's going to take place. Every year, Ayanna Brown has the event right at the stage in the parking lot of grocery outlet. And then we'll filter it out to the public. We're also working on a partnership with Harborview to do a weekly clinic for vaccines at the fire department admin building. So we're hoping that partnership materializes here real soon. I just want to give a big thanks to the city of Renton. They've really taken us under their wing and really have helped us out with getting this going, along with public health. Any questions on vaccines? I know that some people worry about Pfizer or Moderna or Johnson & Johnson. Right now we're on pause with Johnson & Johnson. But I tell you, the reactions between Pfizer and Moderna, it really depends on the person. One isn't better than the other, and the percentages are so close. I can tell you right now, the doctors tell us, we have our meetings every week, that your chances of reaction are the same, and the percentages are so close that you are basically 100% from dying or being hospitalized when you have the vaccine. There's still a chance that you can still come down with COVID, but your symptoms will not be as severe. So any questions on the vaccine and what we're up to? Okay, great. I don't have an official PowerPoint or presentation for you tonight, but we are going to be going to the voters in a general election this year for a levied lit lift. We are currently operating on $1.13 per thousand on our general property tax. And we have a current excess levy that will be expiring this year. That's also 53 cents. That will expire at the end of this year. We'll be coming to you, the voters, in November to do a levy lit lift to take us from $1.13 to $1.50. This will help us maintain our current service. As many of you know or may not know, we are a combination department. So we have 14 or 12 firefighters currently and about 25 volunteers. A lot of our volunteers, they actually work in the evening. So as we're speaking right now, a lot of them are coming on to shift and they'll work throughout the night. We could not do it without our volunteers. They are a big part of how we operate. But taking our current $1.13 to $1.50 is extremely important for us to continue operations. So more to come on that. I would take some questions on the levy lit lift now if you like, or you can wait for my presentation at the next quarterly meeting. Any questions? If not, okay, well, thank you.
All right, thanks, Chief Hicks. Looking forward to the presentation at the next quarterly. Let's see here. So we got King County Sheriff Office. I'm getting feedback. Sorry about that. Deputy Major Jeff Floor. I see you on the line there. There you are.
Hey, Joey, thank you. Hi, everybody. I have some really exciting news today. As we promised, we wanted to do a thoughtful selection for your storefront deputy, your Skyway West Hill deputy. And we wanted to do it differently this time, and working in conjunction with Councilmember Z's office and the West Hill Community Association and our former Skyway storefront deputy, Jimmy Mitchell, who's now Sergeant Mitchell. Today, the panel convened. The panel consisted of Hugo Garcia from Local Services, Paul Patu from Urban Family, Sergeant Mitchell, your former West Hill storefront deputy, Claude Burfict from the NAACP, and Nilu Hicks, who's a block watch captain in Skyway. We had 5 applicants, which was amazing. 5 applicants that wanted to be your storefront deputy. And these 5 applicants, they just can't be anybody. They have to have no active complaints. They have to have no sustained complaints from internal affairs. They have to be experienced and seasoned deputies, and they have to have exemplary evaluations. We did it differently this time, where I was the gatekeeper to make sure everyone was qualified, but the panel chose the person. And I'm excited to say that that person, who approached me 8 months ago when he had come to us as a seasoned lateral from Detroit PD, he approached me and said, "Hey, can we do some community work with, can I work with Jimmy Mitchell up in Skyway?" And I said, "You bet you can." Coming full circle, Jimmy got promoted, and I'd like to introduce Deputy Josh Sales, who can tell you. Josh is on the call right now. So Josh, take it away.
Hello, everybody. Josh Lascelles. As the major said, I am a lateral from Detroit, Michigan. I spent 3 years there before transferring here to the King County Sheriff's Office. I'm not sure I've really spoken with any of you besides I've seen the fire chief a few times in Skyway. Manny and Miss Ayanna Brown, we've had conversations at the storefront a few different times. But I'm excited to kind of turn over a new leaf with Skyway. I know you guys need some representation in the community. I know that hasn't been presented in the best ways in the past, and I'm just looking forward to doing things with the youth all the way up to the elderly, and to make sure that you guys are represented and cared about, because just because it's a small community doesn't mean that you guys need to be forgotten about or not taken care of. So I'll keep it very brief, and that'll be that. Looking forward to working with you all.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. And Josh will be in touch with everybody. I have a couple updates just in case people had questions on a couple serious calls we had that in April. You might have seen some activity on April 12th. In the middle of the night, we had to have our hostage negotiation team and our SWAT team come out for a gentleman who was running around with a knife, asking the police to shoot him. What we ended up doing was disengaging and getting him confined in an area, and then the negotiators were able to talk to him. So it resolved itself peacefully. There was no injury, no loss of life. And that worked out really well. And our mental health negotiator and our crisis negotiators were able to talk with him. The next day, I had to come back out with the SWAT team. We had a gentleman take 2 young children hostage at gunpoint after pointing a gun at his brother. We again brought the SWAT team and the negotiators. We were able to safely negotiate the children out, and he ended up surrendering to our SWAT team, and we got him into mental health help. My blood pressure was up for 2 days. Thank God. Our crisis negotiation team, I would put them up against the best in this country. We have a mental health professional that deploys with the negotiators. And our SWAT team does an amazing job. Sometimes that word SWAT makes people, oh my gosh, it's aggressive, when in fact it's contain and do everything we can to not use force and to make sure that everybody's safe. So I bring up those 2 incidents just a few days ago, 7 days ago, because there were lots of calls. On one of the days we had to use one of the elementary schools parking lots. So you had all the armored vehicles. And I was in touch with the council member's office, and we were in touch with the media just so parents knew there wasn't a problem at the school. So great resolutions, stressful calls. And again, the big important news is Josh. So I have to drop off the call, and I think Josh does too, but Manny will stay on tonight if there's anything. But does anybody have any questions for us right now before we have to go? I'll check the chat. Look like there's 7. A lot of warrant, special operations, arrest, includes. Oh, okay. There's a question about flashbangs that have caused community concern. Thank you for who sent that question. That was, looks like Mr. Johnston. Thank you for reminding me, Mr. Johnston. So the flashbangs were a Seattle PD search warrant that happened. Sorry, I'm getting feedback from somebody. There it is. Thanks. Seattle PD served a joint warrant all over the place on a fentanyl case, and Skyway had a small location. Seattle PD was the ones that deployed the flashbangs. It was not the sheriff's office. But great questions. That's what it was, and no one was injured during that warrant execution either. Any other questions before we drop off?
Pastor Curtis, it looked like you might have been raising your hand there. You have a question?
Yes, Pastor Curtis Q. Taylor of the Seattle Word of God Church. We will be opening up in the next month, probably in the middle of next month, the Tiny House Village, the northwest part of Skyway. I met with officers once before, and I'll probably come into the office to meet with you again, Josh and Jeffrey, to reacquaint myself, because we will have some of the homeless people living in the tiny houses that's being developed at that site in the northwest part of Skyway off Martin Luther King and 57.
Thank you, Pastor. We will be there, and you can always reach out. I'll put my email in the chat, and Josh and I would love to meet with you.
Okay, thank you much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the message, Ayanna. Thanks, everybody. I'll finish with this. This is not representative of the sheriff's office. This is me as a career law enforcement officer. I think the right thing happened today for this country. So, excuse me. But I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to moving forward. It's been a stressful year for everybody. A lot of people have had a lot more stress. There's been some very rough interactions with police. I'm very proud of your sheriff's office. I don't blow smoke, for those of you that know me. I look forward to healing with our profession. So thank you.
Terrific. Thank you, Deputy Major. And welcome, Deputy Josh Sales. Super excited to have both you guys around, being here tonight. Love the passion and the commitment that you both have, to this community here. It goes a long way. So thank you for being here. And we'll let you guys go to the rest of your evening. I'm sure you got great work ahead of you for the rest of the night. So thank you. Before we move on, I do want to call out, it looks like there was a couple of questions. One for Chief Hicks. Let me go back if I can find that, if you're still on the line here and if you're willing. There was a question asking, are there any volunteer opportunities to help with the Skyway pop-up vaccine events? That was from Facebook.
Yeah, so I was reading that, and I would love for them to maybe contact me. I can put my email in the chat box there and see what skills they have and see if we can put them to work somehow.
Terrific. There you go. Putting people to work. That's how you get things done. All right. Let's see here. And then Cynthia, are you still online? Okay. Yes, I see you there. There was a question about utility fee. Question about King County utility fee from Mark Johnston. Mr. Johnston, are you on the line? Do you want to clarify what that question was? Okay. Oh, we might have some connectivity issues. Okay, we might come back around to that. Cynthia, stay tuned, unless you know what that is.
I don't know what it is. Happy to call us at the office, or if we get a little clarification, I'll be here the rest of the meeting.
Okay, terrific. Thank you for that. Okay, that was Randy Matheson from Renton School District able to join. Coming back to the top here. Go through my list.
Hey, I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yeah. Oh, can hear you now.
Sorry, just a little trouble getting my audio connected with my name. The question, Cynthia, was about the King County utility fee that had been floated for quite some time. And I believe in maybe late 2019, the Supreme Court ruled that King County could charge the fee, but I'm a little bit unsure of that. But I'm curious what you can tell us about whether that might materialize at some point in the future, and if you know what kind of time frame.
I can speak to that, Mark. Thanks. And we've been periodically putting information in the newsletter about that fee. It was adopted under an ordinance, and I apologize, I don't know the ordinance number off the top of my head, but it's referred to as the King County franchise fee. And it is a fee for the district to have water or sewer pipes in the right of way. right now, paying that fee and what the exact dollar amount will be is still under discussion. The Supreme Court did decide that the county could charge that fee. And what I will do is come prepared with a more detailed update at the next quarterly meeting or have something in our next newsletter.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
thank you very much.
You're welcome, Mark.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, Cynthia. Okay, how about Maggie from REACH for Center of Hope? Were you able to join?
It's not Maggie, it's Reverend Bianca Davis Lovelace, the executive director.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's see, where should I start? Right now, we are still in the construction aspect of the construction of Lake Ridge Lutheran. So we're trying to secure the permits. So we're still in that process. Of course, we know that can take some time, but overall, we are currently now at Renton United Methodist for our where our shelter is currently located now. We hold up to about 35 individuals, but right now we have about 29 people within our shelter and 6 families total. Usually we hold up to 55 individuals, but due to the pandemic, we are social distancing. So right now we're capping it at 35. We do have some room left. We're currently, like I said, we were at 29 individuals now. So we do have room for maybe one or two more families. Overall, we are hoping, and I say that we're hoping and praying that we will transition into the new facility by June. So again, it all depends on the permitting process and getting everything up and going within that time frame. Our biggest concern right now is the fact of the rent moratorium will be lifted June 30th. That's a real concern. And because of that, usually shelters are, there's a great, a high chance that shelters will be greatly impacted by the lifting of the moratorium. So one, we're praying that it's extended, and that our local and federal government find a way to kind of alleviate that on both the tenants and the landlords part. But at the end of the day, we are kind of, that's one of our major concerns at REACH, is what could possibly happen if this rent moratorium is lifted. We just had a community conversation about 2 weeks ago with both REACH and the Washington State Poor People's Campaign, which is one of the organizations that I chair as well outside of REACH. And we had a community conversation, a town hall about breaking the cycle, preventing is ending homelessness. And we talked about what that is going to look like in the near future. And we had some powerful speakers on who kind of addressed some of the concerns that many are having around this rent moratorium and homelessness. So I know that it's going to take a community-wide effort, and that we're going to have to come together and kind of figure out how we can be allies to each other and support each other's work during this critical time. So yeah, wasn't planning on speaking today, but but I hope that is kind of paints the picture for you all of where we're at. And we're just here to, support and be a resource and help those who are most vulnerable. That's our main focus as REACH, so.
Sounds good. Thank you, Bianca. Appreciate you stepping up and being ready to speak even without being ready to speak. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So that is our community reports that we had scheduled. That being said, we've allotted time for other community reports that might not have been scheduled, but people would like to bring to the center here. So I would open it up to the group, after which we will go into our main presentations from King County Permitting and King County Metro, followed by the elections once again. So with that, are there other reports from the community here that people would like to add at this point?
I'd like to say something. Or I'm
Sure.
hi.
Who is that? Is that Rachel?
I'm Rachel Berryessa. Yeah, I'm with King County Department of Natural Resources, specifically water and land, and where I am is with the stormwater section. And I want to thank Kevin LeClaire for letting us know about this quarterly meeting. But we wanted to. I'm here with a couple of colleagues and wanted to share that we have an upcoming meeting Tuesday, May 4th, online from 6 to 7. And what we're looking for is help with finding some storm or rainwater problems like flooding and erosion and things that the rainwater causes. So because we'd like to see what needs need to be done, we need to prioritize them and get them funded for the next budget year. So again, it's Tuesday, May 4th at online Zoom from 6 to 7. We have a website that we'll put on the chat, hoping that you guys can cast out the message. We've also sent postcards. So some of you, if you live in the area, such as yourself, will get that postcard. I hope you can join us. That's about it.
Terrific. Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, be sure to
you.
get the information there into the chat and do yourself a favor there so that everybody can follow up. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
I see Pastor Curtis Q. Taylor. Yep, there you are.
Thank you very much. We at Seattle Word of God Church, we are working in concert with the Lehigh. We will be opening a tiny house village right there on the corner of Martin Luther King and 57, really 56, where 56 and 57 come together on the northwest part of Skyway. We're looking for referrals for those that maybe know of anybody needing a tiny house. You can reach us and we can reach the Lehigh in concert with them at swogchurch@gmail.com. If you want to look more into the Progressive Skyway Tiny House Village, you can go to Lehigh, LIHI.org website, and you can look at the tiny houses and you'll see exactly what we are speaking of for those that you know need a home in the Skyway area, West Hill Skyway area. Thank you very much.
Pastor,
Yes.
I wonder if you're willing to take a question.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining the meeting. And are you the pastor of the church that owns the property?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's nice to meet you. I live literally just a couple blocks from there. So, and I'm really glad to see a resource being made available. This is really, homelessness was a serious problem before COVID, but during COVID, it has just expanded greatly from what I understand. And so I'm glad to see resources coming to Skyway. What I understand is that right at this time, there is a limit of 120 days on the use of that facility as a homeless camp, I guess. but I've also heard that there are plans in place to expand that time frame to 3 years or up to 3 years, maybe. Can you speak to that a little bit at all?
I see Josh Castle is there. I would let him talk more on that.
Oh,
But yes, it
perfect,
will
perfect.
be
Thanks.
longer than 120 days. Go ahead, Josh.
Hi, everyone. I've actually been on the whole time. I was just on my phone, so I snuck on my computer. You know, Mark, I'll have to follow up with you on that. I'm actually not aware that there's like a 120-day limit. I know that the program is able to be there for a couple of years at least. But I can follow up on that.
Yeah, the 120-day limit is tied to the permit that is been approved by the county, I believe.
Yeah, I will have to look into that because that is something first time I've heard that before, actually. My coworker, Bradford Gerber, who I'm also working with on this, he's kind of working more on the permitting side of things and the contracting side. And I'm working a little bit more on the community engagement side. So I want to make sure I want to make sure to plug the fact that we're forming a community advisory committee for the village as well. And Mark, if you live a few blocks away from the site, you'd actually be a perfect fit for it because we're looking for nearby neighbors and local businesses, you know, schools, community groups, other faith organizations, and just community, you know, leaders to join that committee. And that would basically oversee the progress of the village. And basically you can bring your questions, your concerns, ideas, or offers of support. Like if you want to volunteer or donate items to the village and support the residents in some way, that's an opportunity to do that. And we meet monthly for about an hour to an hour and a half. And right, you know, it's going to be over Zoom for probably the time being for a little while. But we're forming that committee. So if anyone's interested, please let me know or let Pastor Taylor know. And we will make sure to send you an application and let you know more about that.
Thank you.
I'll have to follow up on that, Mark, on your question.
Yeah, has there been a kickoff meeting or will there be a kickoff meeting that invites the community to participate, to hear what's happening directly?
Well, you know, we already we actually had a community meeting.
November.
When was that, Pastor? That was a couple months ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was back in November.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
But we are absolutely willing to, if anyone's interested in having another meeting, another smaller meeting, we're willing to meet with any other community or neighborhood group like this group. So yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
Well, what I'd suggest is there's a local Facebook group, the Rainier Beach Skyway Seattle, Washington group, and you would definitely be welcome to join either or both of you. I assume, Josh, that you are Lehigh?
Yeah, I'm with the Low Income Housing Institute. I'm the community engagement director.
Right. Am I pronouncing it right when I say Lehigh?
Yep. You got it right.
And Pastor, you would also be welcome to join the Rainier Beach and Skyway Seattle, Washington group as well. That's where I've seen most of the social media conversation around the Tiny House Village. But once again, thank you for working on a way to help alleviate the homeless issue.
Mark, when do they meet?
Oh, this is a Facebook discussion group.
Oh, gotcha.
But it would be if I know that every organization has different rules about Facebook, so you know, it may not always be a good fit, but if you are Facebook friendly, then in terms of organizationally and discussing the Tiny House Village, then that would be one place where people I know are already talking about it.
Yeah, we can check in on that and see what questions are being brought up. See if we can address those on the page. I'm definitely a Facebooker, so I'm happy to go check that out.
There you go. Look at us connecting the dots. That's what we're here for. And so Josh and Pastor, I think any information that you could also get into the chat for anybody to follow up would be wise at this point. So thank you guys both for that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said, okay, thank you very much for the time.
I'll drop my email in there. Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely.
Josh, put mine. I'm not that techy yet.
Oh, you got it.
There you go. Terrific. And lastly, last call for other community reports, but there was a question, would anybody be able to provide an update on Skyway Park renovations? There was a question from Facebook. Is there anybody on the call that would be able to provide a project or an update around that?
This is John Taylor. Just to say, I don't think we have anyone from Parks on the call who can give you a detailed update. We can definitely bring one to the next board meeting. My understanding was, and I might prevail upon my good friend Cynthia Lamont to see if she has had any conversations with Parks about their plans in the wake of the sewer line project being done. You might know more about than I do.
I would like to be able to say that I do, John, but I don't.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything recently.
Okay. So why don't we can bring something back to you, but there's no one on the call who has deep knowledge about what their project schedule is. I feel like I've always heard them saying they were getting ready to go this summer during this construction season, but beyond that, I can't say much. I apologize.
No, that's okay. Great. Yeah, we'll definitely we'll sort that out for the next time. And Cynthia, there's number 2 for being called on unexpectedly. That was not number 3. You can relax. Okay, so thank you, everybody. If there's no other community reports from the floor. Oh, Ayana, yes, I see your hand raised. You're on mute though. Nope, still on mute. Just unmute. Yep, there you are. Most used term in 2020. You're on mute. Okay, there you go.
Knew that. I just wanted to see if you had good lip reading skills. I knew that.
Welcome.
So I just wanted to say I apologize. I had to step away. So if I was called upon before now, I missed it. But I just wanted to just tap in and to say, thank you to everybody who is allowing us to be able to put on the vaccine clinic. For us, for those of you who have attended the community family reunion in the past, for us, it's always an opportunity for more healing, especially within our community. And right now with our country literally being sick, my husband thought that it would be, a great opportunity to bring another level of healing, especially to our community. And that's when he came up with the idea of the vaccine clinic. Little did I know that was already in the works. And so we were just allowed to plug in with the work that has already been started. And so so that's what this is about. It's a continuation of what we've always done, bring us together. Yeah, just a whole nother level of healing. And so I'm grateful to still be allowed to work in the Skyway area. As I said before, this is always ground zero for us, and it's an honor to be a part of such a great community. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Yana. I appreciate you being here and appreciate you speaking. All right. Okay, thank you, everybody. Certainly a lot of great information out there. Again, this is really all about being able to connect the dots, work with the community, and keep the ball moving, right? So please follow up, pay attention to the chat, things that have struck an interest for you. Follow up. I believe everybody here on the call is more than willing to engage and get you any information that you might not have been able to receive during the community reports themselves. Okay, moving on. So now we are into the section of our main presentations that will be followed by our elections. First up, we have King County permitting from Nicole Sanders, who I believe I saw on the call earlier. Welcome, Nicole. We've allotted about 10 minutes. Do your best, but we're a forgiving group for the most part. So off you go. The floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for the time here tonight. So I'm going to actually turn off my video because I'm going to be mostly looking at some notes so I don't mess anything up. All right. Everyone can see that? All right.
Yes. Yep.
Excellent. So thank you again. My name is Nicole Sanders. I'm a green building principal planner from the King County Permitting Division, here to present on draft building codes updates, specifically our proposals for energy codes in buildings. So the goal of this presentation tonight is intended to provide some information on potentially upcoming county legislation, answer questions about the proposal, and provide direction on how to comment on that proposal if this group or individual residents are interested in commenting. For the outline, we'll walk through why we're proposing these codes, what it is we're proposing, some anticipated costs, and the schedule for the code proposal. The presentation is about 10 minutes. I won't see questions as we go, but hopefully we'll have some time to check the chat afterwards. Some of the primary objectives of the county's proposed energy code are influenced by state law and its goals around climate change. The 2019 state passage of the Clean Energy Transformation Act, or CETA, will make Washington state energy grids carbon-free by 2030, which is great news, but it leads us to the question of where we should focus our energy code improvements moving forward. King County has strong goals of reducing climate changing emissions, and the remaining source of emissions comes from natural gas, which granted emits half as many emissions as coal per equivalent heat, but it's still half as bad from a climate change perspective. While we'll eventually have to address all the natural gas we're using today, one of the goals of these codes is to reduce the amount of gas pipelines we're adding into the ground as we speak. And we'll dive into some other reasons we're looking at natural gas momentarily. There are two other proposal goals with these code changes, namely increasing energy efficiency and increasing sources of clean energy like renewables. Both of these will help our region address potentially increasing energy demands from population migration and state changes to our energy sources, while also beginning to add additional building systems like space and water heating to the energy grid. So I said that climate impacts are not the only reason we're looking at natural gas in buildings, so I wanted to briefly review that wider spectrum of concerns. There are health impacts associated with natural gas stoves, with research indicating that gas stoves can increase a child's risk of asthma in the home up to 42%. And even after they leave a home with gas stoves, their lifetime asthma risk is still increased by 24%. Both natural gas and propane release air pollutants when combusted, including carbon monoxide, fine particulates, formaldehyde, and nitrous oxide. Beyond asthma, these pollutants are of increasing concern due to other factors, including an increased number of days exposed to wildfire smoke, and recently with COVID exposure. A study by Harvard found that even small increases in particulate matter exposure can significantly affect COVID mortality rates. Air pollution levels also correspond with equity impacts. There's disproportionate numbers of historically disadvantaged populations that live in areas with greater amounts of pollution overall, which can lead to higher rates of asthma as well as cancer and other pollution-related illnesses. Another concern is with fugitive emissions. The piped transmission of natural gas is unfortunately not airtight. So there are emissions that escape from those distribution systems. Methane is the main component of natural gas, which is 34 to 86 times more powerful than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas. So leaky distribution increases the concern of the climate change impacts of natural gas. 2, a study of the Boston metro area evaluated 100 natural gas leaks and found 15% of them had enough gas concentration to be potentially explosive, which leads us to our last listed concern around natural gas leaks and explosions. We may think these are rare, but many of us may remember stories about leaks and explosions locally that luckily, while lives were not lost, did result in substantial property destruction, damage, evacuations, and extended periods of power cutoffs. So with that long list of the why, maybe beginning to get into the codes themselves here. Up front, I want to clarify what types of buildings these codes apply to. With few exceptions, King County cannot amend state building code requirements for new single-family homes. There is one amendment proposed, which is allowed by the state for new single-family homes and townhomes, proposing that these buildings have a solar-ready area on the roof, which is unobstructed and unshaded for a future solar panel installation. Please note this doesn't apply if the proposed structure's roof area is going to be shaded 70% of the day. It also does not apply to existing buildings. So if you re-roof your home tomorrow, you wouldn't have to comply with this. All of the remaining codes we'll discuss today do not apply to single-family homes and townhomes. The remaining codes we'll discuss apply to all commercial buildings and multifamily residential if it is 4 stories tall or taller. The multifamily codes do not apply to multifamily when it is 3 stories or less. Okay, so what are we actually proposing? Our draft energy code requires 10% higher efficiency for lighting, power, and windows. Under the building performance pathway, an alternative compliance route using energy modeling for more complex buildings like hospitals, builders cannot propose substandard envelopes. A building envelope means anything that keeps your heated indoor air inside. So the walls, ceiling, the floors, they all have to perform equally well in energy modeling compared to what's required under traditional code. Number 3 addresses the efficiency credit system in the code. The system provides multiple options to comply with efficiency in a pick and choose way, sort of like an a la carte menu, with a required minimum number of credits obtained. We're increasing the minimum number of efficiency credits that a project must earn. So 6 credit project under typical state code would have to earn 8 credits under our code amendments. We're also disallowing any natural gas systems to claim efficiency credits, removing an embedded incentive for natural gas. Continuing on that natural gas front, the ordinance proposes barring the use of fossil fuel-based heating for commercial and multifamily buildings, as well as limiting the use of electric resistance heating. This one has potentially big gains for building decarbonization as it really targets the natural gas load. And the last item here requires heat pump water heaters for multifamily buildings, with delayed implementation to 2022 to give designers and contractors a little extra time to adjust their plan designs. And finally, this set of codes address solar and solar-ready additions. Existing code already enforced at the state level currently requires solar readiness for commercial buildings. So again, that's making an unobstructed, unshaded area for future solar on that building. We are proposing extending that requirement to multifamily buildings as well. Again, there is an exception if a roof's potential solar area is shaded 75% of the day. In addition to requiring space for future solar installation, we are proposing to actually require installation of a small amount of solar energy on site. The requirement is set at 1/4 watt per square foot and takes up a small portion of the roof. So for 2-story buildings, it's less than 4% of the roof space and so forth. I should note that affordable housing projects are proposed to be exempt from this last requirement, so they won't have to provide this feature, but they can be receiving sites for renewables from other projects if those other projects can't install or choose not to install renewables on site. We've had some questions on how these proposals might affect housing affordability. Upfront, I want to reiterate these codes won't apply to housing projects unless they are 4 stories or taller. For those residential projects, the code changes may add between $1,000 to a little under $4,000 per dwelling unit in costs. In a 100-unit project with typical project costs of $250,000 per unit, these changes would represent between a 0.5% to a 1.5% increase. This shows the timeline for the proposed code changes. The draft ordinance is currently posted and will remain up for public comment until April 30th, at which point county staff will update the ordinance again with a target of transmitting to County Council in July. And then we can't know when council will consider the ordinance, if they'll approve it or amend it, though we're guessing they won't take up that conversation until August. Before I go, I want to acknowledge this is a lot of information in a short amount of time. There's a 2-pager that goes over very similar points reviewed today. It's posted currently on the comment page for legislation. I'll show that link in a moment. I also wanted to note we are hoping to get translations of the 2-page summary posted this week in the languages listed here, so that material can be more accessible throughout the community. So there's the link to access both commenting and at the bottom the 2-page briefing document. And my email is also there for questions. And that is hopefully 10 minutes in presentation material.
No, you did great. Thank you, Nicole. Appreciate that. Are there any questions for Nicole? Means a job well done. Yeah, I think anything else you could add to the chat? Yeah, that's right. Anything else you can add to the chat before we wrap here today, just for reminders and follow-ups? I think that's great. Other than that, thank you so much for being here and presenting.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, all that to be said, we now have another area of King County Metro from Maha Jason. And I need to pull up where everybody is. Maha, are you on the line?
I don't believe Maha is on the line, but my name is Danny and I'm with King County Metro today.
All right, Danny. Off you go. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me. I learned a lot from all the presentations today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. But as alluded to, I'm Danny. I'm with King County Metro, and I'm here to present to you today on, let's see, can you see my screen?
Coming up. Yep, we can see it.
So, cool. My name is Danny. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm with King County Metro, and I am the project lead on the Skyway Youth Orca Pass project, which is a portion of the larger investments that King County Metro is making in Skyway. I think you all had a recent presentation at your last quarterly meeting from my colleagues who presented on the flexible transit services that will be launching in the fall. The services that are kind of like Via to Transit, where you can hail a van on an app. So that's part of the project. And then the other portion is this Skyway Youth Orca Pass project. So I'm just going to kind of quickly go over what we've heard from community and so our design that we're planning to implement, and then leave it up for some discussion if anybody has questions or ideas for us. So what we've heard from youth and community, so just for some background, it was part of this budget package where they said they wanted passes for Skyway Youth, transit passes for Skyway Youth. And so we've talked to some youth about transit in the community, and we put out a survey, and the top concerns that people had were personal safety while walking, riding, and waiting at bus stops were the #1 concerns from students and families. And that's other passengers, and also fare enforcement is a concern as well for safety. And then the other primary concern we heard from students in like Skyway and Renton is that a lot of them don't have experience riding the bus and don't know how to navigate the system, maybe because their families aren't regular bus riders. And so that is also a barrier for them. On the flip side, we heard a lot of excitement about independence and connection to opportunity and mobility to connect to educational opportunities, running start programs, job opportunities, etc. And students also really love the connection of, transit with environmental benefits. That's something we always hear. And so we're excited to make that connection through our outreach as well. So we started conversations with Renton School District, and their recommended eligibility for these Skyway Youth Passes was 8th through 12th graders. They felt 8th grade was a good age to start the program. They felt those students can travel independently. It's a good, launching point to get into high school and start traveling more independently. And and then they highlighted some outreach priorities for our program, including giving out all of our resources in multiple languages, English, Spanish, and Vietnamese, and also including specific resources for students with disabilities and mobility disabilities in our outreach. So the basics of what we're planning to do is give out ORCA passes. Our eligibility criteria will include all students at Renton High School, all students at Pali High School, and then 8th graders at Dimmitt Middle School. And based on our survey, about 90% of people felt that this really covered the majority of students in the Skyway area that would benefit from these passes. And we know there will be some students that live within Skyway that won't fall under this umbrella. So we are working on a contingency plan for that small number of students who will be entitled to a card but won't be receiving it through their school. So for the timeline, we are going to start handing out passes come June 2021. So just in about a couple months here, and students will be eligible for a 3-month summer pass from King County Metro that will get them through the summer. And then starting in the fall, we are partnering with Renton School District, and Renton School District will sort of take on more of the administrative role for the passes, and they will hand out 12-month ORCA passes and, you know, be able to answer student questions and replace lost cards or cards that aren't working. So we're really excited to be starting a partnership with them so that students can get, you know, that service like right at their school site. Or questions. So our plans, in addition to handing out cards, we also want to do some like educational pieces just because we have never done a large scale ORCA program in the Renton area before. So we're going to be Metro Classroom educators will be virtually visiting over 25 classrooms this spring in June and May and June, just to sort of introduce students to, you know, the apps that you use to plan your trips, give them some safety tips and answer any questions that students might have so that when they get the passes in their hand, they'll feel more confident about being able to actually use them to go places. And we'll also be covering COVID safety and all of our new like protocols we have for, you know, behaving right on the bus during the pandemic. Additionally, there'll be individualized training opportunities that Metro has always for students who have an IEP. And we usually offer field trips as well, but those might be available in the fall. We'll see with COVID. Like I said, we'll have materials available in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese, and most of our communications will go out through the school district and school principals. But we are open to, if there are other channels that would be great to communicate with students and families just to get the word out and make sure students get signed up for their cards. Yeah, we will share out information and we're happy to talk to more organizations as well. Additionally, we are scoping additional partnership opportunities with local community-based organizations or student groups to just run some like additional like campaigns, maybe like an educational campaign or an opportunity to get youth experience with like running a marketing campaign and sort of promoting this program. We also really are interested in measuring the impact of these passes since ORCA passes are new to Renton Skyway area. This is really an opportunity for us to like evaluate the value that these passes have and the impact they have on connecting students to opportunity so that hopefully we can use this small program as a roadmap to sort of increase youth ORCA access throughout South King County, because not very many South King County school districts right now have access to subsidized ORCA cards for their students. Yeah, so that is the basics of what we are going to be doing. And I will open it up for any questions. Yeah, and these are just some sort of questions I had for you all too, if you all have any ideas that you want to share with us. Cool.
Terrific. Thank you, Danny. Is there any specific help wanted or an ask of the group here that you would want to put to us?
No specifics. I think if there's channels that we should be communicating through or organizations that you think we should be talking to, we'll definitely take those recommendations. But yeah, I can put my email in the chat if anybody has wants to ask any further questions or get involved in our process. But
Are there any questions for Danny? All right.
And then I see in the chat, Mark, that you're interested in learning more about the Via to Transit options, and I can share some info on that. I think we're still working on getting a web page up where they'll have more details about the proposed area that the flexible services pilot will serve. And yes, so we will follow up.
Thanks. I just wanted to say that I love the Via service that's currently offered to light rail, and if you know how to obtain the presentation that may have been given maybe last meeting, so I could review it, I'd really be glad to take a look.
I can.
If you're going to put your email in, I can follow up with you on that.
Yes, awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to email out that presentation that was from the last meeting. And Ayana, do you want to elaborate a little bit on your specific concerns related to the Tally High School stop?
So when Elijah One's Hands does the annual Thanksgiving dinner, that's where the event is. We partner with Renton School District, and they allow us to use that facility as the venue. And there is no direct line there, and just because of the position of it, of course, it's down at the very bottom of the hill, and so people being able to get to it from the bus is not always feasible, especially if there are people who have mobility issues. And so in years past, I have at that particular time, I was a school bus driver. And so in years past, I've been able to win the heart of the superintendent of Tukwila School District, because that's who I drove for. And they would, I think 1 or 2 years, they let me use district vehicles to be able to shuttle people backwards and forth, to those two stops. And then we've also used our personal car with the same thing, with the offer of picking people up at the 7-Eleven either on MLK and 129th or the 7-Eleven right there on 76th and Renton Avenue. So those were our two pickups and drop-offs. But that in and of itself, just and so now, since I'm not with Tukwila School District anymore, I don't have access to that. But but trying to just go through all of the hassle of that. Also in the past, I have been able to get bus passes. Metro has actually donated bus passes to Elijah One's Hands to be able to give out to people to attend, but it's the same thing. They've got the bus pass, but it only brings them so far. So if we could manage to get a line directly there, and not just for the Thanksgiving dinner, but we've got kids, that go there, and so and some of those kids, and so since they are getting, the Orca passes, it's the same thing. It only takes them so far, and so so in consideration of those kids who attend that campus and for the community events that take place there, that needs to have better access, in my opinion.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I think 2 parts. Well, the launch of the flexible services pilot, I think what you were saying with there's only so much access that the existing routes provide. I think this pilot will really be great for providing, that point-to-point access where you can go from the Renton Transit Center and be driven directly to the location of your choice within the boundaries. So that'll be a really great resource. And then for, not for like events, but just for individuals traveling. And then for events, as part of our investments, I think we're also launching a community van, which will be I want to say 15-passenger van. I'm not exactly sure how big. John, you're unmuting.
Yeah, I don't know the size of it, but David, Dawn, and I have talked about using the community van for the annual Thanksgiving event as kind of a shuttle. So I think there's potential there.
We'll have a community van, and that'll be, you can reserve it. It's volunteer driven, but I can share out more information with that as well. Is there somebody that I should send if I have, all the Metro PowerPoints, since we don't have a link to a website yet? Is there somebody I can share that with here? Or like follow-up notes, or that's okay if
not. Send it to me and we'll get it out to everybody. So john.taylor@kingcounty.gov.
Yes, we don't have a link for feedback on the Youth Orca Pass program yet, but if you have any feedback, you can feel free to email that to me.
And you can also send it to communications@mywesthill.org. There you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Danny. Is there anything else for Danny? Okay. Well, appreciate that. With that, it does wrap up our main presentations. So thank you both to Nicole and Danny. We are now moving into the back portion of our agenda tonight. We allotted 40 to 45 minutes. We only have 42 minutes. I guess we'll make do. And that is the elections, right? And so we did have a few submissions via online, and so we'll go through those, and then we'll be asking for candidates from the floor that didn't have the opportunity to apply online that would like to speak to the group tonight. That to be said, I'm going to move along to Daniel E. Smith, who has submitted an application for us. And I see, Dana, I see you are on the line here, so I'll turn it over to you for 60 for your bit, right, to introduce yourself and make your piece.
Thank you for welcoming me. It's kind of interesting having Metro on just before me, because if anybody saw what I posted online, something that's real interest me is improving the bus stops in the area. Some of them are, as I mentioned in my little short bio, are difficult to get to. Some of them are downright embarrassing in their appearance, overgrown, weeds, blackberries, poor lighting. And I think that's something that I feel pretty strongly about, is definitely room for improvement. And if part of that is improving access to areas that need it, I do have a couple contacts at Metro. I've dealt with government contracts and the way it works. So I think I could bring some skills of mine to that to help improve that. Lived here in Skyway since 2002. Ran the Skyway Outdoor Cinema for a year. Really think there's a lot of opportunity here. I love what, seeing the posts on the web about, the different restaurants, that we have, some of the things that we are really good about here. And I think that, getting back in the game and participating is going to be a good thing for me, and hope to contribute to the community and, improve opportunities for people. And it's just kind of the Metro thing before me. It was kind of like, oh, okay, there's someone I can talk to at Metro and see how to make this happen. And look forward to working with all of you. And thank you for hosting this, Joey.
Great. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate you being here tonight and creating, a voice for yourself and connecting the dots. So thank you so much. Look forward to hearing more. Next up, we do have Beth Hintz, familiar name. Beth, I believe you're on the line there. There you are. I'd like to turn it over to you. Introduce yourself to the folks that maybe not know you, and then off you go.
Thank you, Joey. Hi, everyone. My name is Beth Hintz, and I've lived in Skyway for about 3 years. And I love this community. I love its diversity. I love the people. I love the beauty of it. I've served on WHCA's board now since 2019, so I've gotten to know many of you on here, and it's been a pleasure to get more involved in the community. I'm running for a board seat again this year because I want to continue being part of the work underway to protect the diversity of our community, to prevent displacement, and to fight for more just and equitable policies and resources so that we can provide for our families and residents can have their needs met both now and into the future. I've worked professionally in the nonprofit sector for more than 20 years. So I have experience in nonprofit management, operations, and fundraising. And I'm committed to continuing to contribute my time and skills to work for racial justice and community-led improvements without displacement. When I'm not doing community work or nonprofit work, you can most of the time find me gardening with my husband, John, who's watching me from the other room, which is kind of funny. Or recently, we just are, currently still building a fence in our front yard. So if you drive down 76 toward the library and you see someone building a fence, that's us. But anyway, thank you very much. And I hope to continue to work on behalf of our community in whatever ways that I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Appreciate that. Were there any other candidates from the floor that would like to submit their candidacy to join the board? As a reminder, this is the last opportunity to submit your candidacy. We've had the page open to be able to submit your application. And then after today, the voting will be open until April 27th. So it'll be open following this meeting until 7 p.m. on April 27th. After this meeting ends, this is the last opportunity to submit yourself for candidacy. And so if there is anybody that would like to bring their name to the forefront and to submit themselves, you're more than welcome to. If not, we will move on. So I'll pause there and see if there's anybody else that would like to. Okay. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. There's going to be a link that's put into the chat. It's also a link that you're going to be able to find on our mywesthill.org page to submit your vote for the next cohort of board members. Like I said, it'll be open until 7 p.m. on April 27th. So thank you, everybody, for joining tonight. I think there's, just in closing, I know we haven't kept everybody on the phone here throughout the completion of the meeting, but there's so much greatness and opportunity and events and things that are happening throughout the community. My hope is that it's not just at the quarterly that people see and hear and witness everything that's going on, but they truly take care of themselves in following up in the chat and connecting the dots and building the relationships outside of these events so that they can continue to push forward in the things that they're passionate about, because there's just so many opportunities out there that can't be captured in the couple of minutes that we spend once a quarter on this call, right? Or even once a month in our board meetings. And so please take it upon yourselves to follow up. I hope that everybody takes care of each other. I would be remiss if I did not give a huge thank you to Jeannie Williams and helping pull together this event. it's not an easy task. It's not for the faint of heart. And Jeannie, I appreciate it so much, as everybody else does on the call. And so definitely want to make note of that. So thank you so much for doing everything that you do. And yeah, I mean, there's a big year ahead of us, right? I mean, I think we're going through a lot of transformations and changes for the best, but we can only do it collectively. So that's all that I had. If there's anybody else that would like to make a comment here, I'd welcome you to do so.
Hi, this is Mark. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to follow up by thanking our board members who are outgoing for their service. I know some folks joined us a little bit later. So a special thanks to Margie Lindberg for serving 2 terms for us. She was previously our board secretary. Micah Phillips for serving as our treasurer for on the executive committee and serving for 2 years. Jacqueline Frazier, thank you so much for your 3 years of service. And Anthony Miller, thank you very much for your 2 years of service. We really appreciate your contributions to the board. And that does mean that there are 5 open seats. So the shape and makeup of the board rests in this community's hands. So we're really eager to get to know more people and bring more people into the fold who really represent this community. All right, go ahead, Mark.
Hey, thanks. This is just a follow-up to the West Hill Community Association board about my concern that I expressed to the sheriff. There was more than just one incident that involved explosions that were kicked off by probably police serving warrants or whatever. I heard of one pot grow that was busted with associated flashbangs and lots of community concern all around. And I'm a little nonplussed by the excuse that, well, it was Seattle police, so we can't comment. I wonder whether I know from public reports that the Liquor and Cannabis Board, Seattle Police, the FBI were involved in these raids. And I wonder how we might, as a community, be able to have feedback from them about community concerns that result. So if any of you have any ideas, especially given the apparent stonewalling, I wish Manny was still here on the call, but because I was going to ask him if I could speak with him, but and I'll try to follow up with him separately. But just in my experience as the admin of the Rainier Beach and Skyway Facebook group, our membership grew by 60 members on the day that they had the big raids here all up and down Skyway Hill and in Rainier Beach. So this is not a minimalist, some crackpot in one corner of the community having an issue with it. This is widespread community concern.
So what I will say to that, I will speak to that just briefly, is that in talking to the sheriff's office, I know that Manny is in the process right now of trying to create a community forum for the community to have a place to come and voice their concerns about whatever's going on in the community. And that's something that they're trying to get up and running by like May or so. So I know that if you contact him, he can probably give you a lot more information on that, but I know that it is in the works, so. I hope that kind of helps and answers your question.
Sorry, I muted myself. Yeah, I just wonder if there might be any of those organizations that would be interested in sending representatives to talk with the community in something like a future WHCA forum, or how community members might help WHCA to reach out and see if you're interested at all.
Yeah, I know that we do get contacted by a lot of you know, a lot of people that just, you know, like they want to see how they can help communicate it, whatever information out to the public. And we do our best to work with them if they do contact us, so.
Onward and upward, I guess.
There you go. Okay, terrific. Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Jeannie, for answering those. A lot of great information again in the chat. I would encourage everybody to quickly copy paste, you know, take the notes, get the email addresses, follow up accordingly, do what you want to do. Cynthia, I'm not going to call on you again. This is not a surprise. And with that,
Joey,
I'm sorry.
I was actually going to speak up and have my third time be a charm.
Oh, forget about it. Off you go. Do your thing.
To Mark's question and Jeannie's, would it be, and now I'm speaking as a community resident, not as the Skyway Water and Sewer District rep, would it be appropriate to invite, drawing a blank on names here, bear with me, Deputy Floor to come back and elaborate a little bit on what happened? You know, you know, I mean, Mark's got some valid points there about, you know, more happened than just 2 incidents, and the community would like to know a little bit more. And if, you know, hear what he has to say and share and see if that we feel like that's enough information, or we all still have questions.
Well, certainly I understand.
Yeah, there was a lot of chatter on, I'm not on Facebook much, but I'm on Nextdoor, and there was a lot of chatter on Nextdoor about when that was happening. So.
Yeah, and
yeah, my understanding is that people, and I am sort of close to a couple of the locations that people were mentioning, but I didn't hear any of the flashbangs at 4:30 in the morning. But from what I understand, the people that did were woke up out of a sound sleep, and it felt like their neighborhood was under attack. And even there are significant questions about the equity and social justice involved in the people that were rounded up and named and shamed by the police agencies that did the raids, and then basically nothing since. But the claim I heard was that the vast majority were people of color. So, you know, there's a lot of angles, both in terms of people's sense of security in their own homes, as well as, you know, who's being targeted and is, you know, I mean, for example, you know, we talk about the war on drugs, but in the United States, I don't believe I've ever heard a drug kingpin named. And yet, you know, it's pretty clear that the Seattle area is awash with illegal drugs. So it makes one wonder whether the police agencies actually benefit by not doing too much to win the war. So anyway, that's my personal political comment about it.
And so I guess I'm not trying to be political at all, but if we have concerns about something,
those comments weren't necessarily to you.
Yeah, no. I know that, Mark. We've known each other for quite a while. If there are questions that we have as a community, then I'd say let's invite the deputy back to speak to those and say, you know, we'd really like you to discuss this specific topic. Now I'll put my water and sewer district hat on again. If there were questions about something that was going on with either the staff that work at our district or a truck you saw out on the street doing who knows what, I would hope that people in the community would contact our office, would contact me if they had some concerns. If there's somebody else that we feel would be better in a position to answer the questions that the community has, then let's find out who that is and have them come and speak to us. if, I don't know if Deputy Flora is the right person or if there's somebody else, but asking questions is the place to start.
Yeah, Deputy Flora is the right person.
Okay.
And I've actually met with them. I've met with them and brought that subject up to them. And I do know that they are organizing, the Sheriff's Department of, the King County Sheriff's Department is organizing to have like a monthly meeting like this one. For people to be able to come and ask questions and voice their concerns about whatever has happened. And Manny is organizing that, but he hasn't got it on the docket yet. We do have, just like you saw earlier in this meeting, there is a section there for them to kind of say what they know about what's been going on. And they are more than welcome to contact us to be part of our, to be a main presentation in our quarterly meeting. But I sometimes it's far apart, right? Like if we invite them back to the quarterly meeting, that's going to be another 3 months from now. So I think there would be more, you would get more out of it for me to be able to go back and voice this back to him, because that means that he has to get his meeting going quicker, sooner rather than later. And that would actually be your forum. But for right now, I think your best bet would probably be to contact Jeff Flork directly and let him know about your concerns so that he can have a conversation with you directly and then understand the concerns of the neighborhood for him to do it. And I am more than willing as a WHCA advocacy chair to go back and relay that information to him, and to also let him know that Manny, to let him know that his community meeting is very much needed right now.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And I think that's a good action step, right? Cynthia, Mark, connecting with Jeannie to be able to connect back with Manny, Deputy Major, and even the newer Deputy Sales, right? And having that conversation offline. Best way to have a meeting is to prep for the meeting to make the most of the time that we never have enough of, right? Yep. So although I say that, guess what? I'm going to give everybody back 20 minutes because we did get through what we needed to get through. So appreciate everybody being here. Like I said, a lot of dots to be connected. That's what we're here to do, to force that issue of connecting the dots, right? And being able to get back into the community, be more engaged, be more informed, and be more vibrant. A lot of great things to come over the next 3 months before we meet for our next quarterly. Although before then, we do have our next regular monthly board meeting the week of May 10th. It'll happen on that Wednesday, the 12th. With that, pay attention to the bulletins to be able to submit your vote for the upcoming board members. And I will say goodnight to everybody and thank you all for coming. Have a great evening.